Greetings and welcome to another episode. This is a special episode. Here with your man, James TheOrator, SuperSpeak Sundays. Yeah. Y'all just sit back and feel that vibe with me. You know, it's a new song. I thought I would get myself a different song from what we've been doing for the last 34 episodes. You know what? We don't have a guest today. I'm the guest, and I'm excited to be here. You know, not just to be on the show, but just to be here before you. You know, when we started out doing this, we had no idea. If you remember the very first episode, we interviewed Keith, the RV guy, who's my brother. And if you haven't had a chance to rent an RV from Touchdown RV, you are really missing out because it's something that many of us did not experience. I know I didn't. And I've talked to a number of people who have not experienced the RV. So again, you know, 34 episodes later, you know, we released an episode every Sunday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing it consistently for that period of time. So again, for those of you who have tuned in, those who have subscribed to our YouTube channel, you know, we're grateful. We're thankful for that. You know, the reason why I decided to do a monologue today is because, you know, we put out those 34, and it's like, I'm telling myself, well, let me share who I am with people so they'll understand, you know, the backstory behind who I brought on and why I brought them on and things of that nature. You know, a lot of times we can do things, you know, and people don't understand your purpose behind it. And so I thought it was important for you, my friends, my listeners, to understand why we started the platform and why we brought on the guests that we had each and every week. How y'all doing? Man, I'm doing all right. I got my Tuskegee stuff on. They have a homecoming next weekend. And if you've never been to a Tuskegee University homecoming, you are really missing out. As a matter of fact, any HBC homecoming, I mean, they are all just fantastic. But you know, I tend to favor Tuskegee because that's where I pay my money. Y'all feel me? So yeah, hey, let me just start out by kind of telling you a story about why I decided to venture into this video podcasting world. You know, I watched a number of podcasts, and you know, there's a lot of information on YouTube and, you know, all these other platforms. But I felt like there was a need for more substance. And again, don't get me wrong. I mean, we have some great people out here who are doing some great things. You know, as a matter of fact, that's kind of, you know, some of these folks inspired me. I don't know if I can say their names or not, so I probably won't, because we don't want to have YouTube kick us off. But yeah, I mean, just some people really had some great information. I said, if I could share my lived experiences and be able to incorporate that into the information that we're sharing, man, that's powerful. And so when you think about interviews like, you know, the lady who came on, you know, talking about estate planning, you know, one thing I found out is, you know, especially when you get on, you know, on social media, you see people asking for money through, you know, GoFundMe. And it's a lot of it has to do with, you know, some of us, and I'm not going to say we, but some of us have not properly prepared to put our loved ones away. And that means, you know, a lack of life insurance. You know, we had Preston Lewis to talk about life insurance. You know, some of you may have watched that one, maybe you haven't, but if you haven't, go back and check it out. But it's small things like that, you know, that if we don't have those things in order, it can impact, our entire existence, and not just our existence, but it can impact the generations that come after us. And so those things are important. But let me just bag up. I told you I was going to share a little bit of my story. And so many of you may know that in 2016, I was blessed to finish up my PhD, and it was a heck of a journey. But oftentimes people only see you in your current form, and they don't know the backstory on how you got there. And I bet if we all looked at our lives, we all have a story, and we've all been through different things that's taken us to where we are today. And so so I graduated from high school in 1987, and when I graduated, I went off to college. Ended up pledging very early at the age of 18. Didn't really want to go to college, to be honest, to be totally transparent. That wasn't my goal. I wanted to go to the Marine Corps. And so, because I was, pushed to go to school, I did go, and I'm glad that I did. But when I got there, college was a big party to me. I had a good time. I met a lot of good people. But the problem is that I wasn't paying the money, somebody else was, and it just wasn't a good fit. And so ultimately, I was sent home from college because I flunked out. And when I flunked out, I also found out that I had my beautiful daughter, who was being born at the same time that I flunked out. And so I had no job, I had no resources. Child support had started to roll. And so my mother called her brother and said, "Hey, this guy needs a job." And so my uncle, rest in peace, Preston Dunham, called me, and he sent me down to see this guy by the name of Roland Bo Watson. He was worked for the city of Gary. And I went down there, and I had on some slacks. I'll never forget this. I had on some slacks and a nice shirt. I'm a college student, right? And so I go down, I go see him. He said, "Hey, I'm here to see you about a job." He said, "Hey, did your uncle tell you what the job was?" I said, "No, but I'm a college student." He took me out to this garage. He said, "Hey, you see truck number 32 over there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's gonna be your truck. Go home and change clothes and be back in an hour." That blue truck was it was a garbage truck. It was a garbage truck. And then I also had so basically when I came back, they gave me like a blue jumpsuit. And so that was my job for the next 5 years, from 1990 to 1995. Well, I eventually had to tell them that I flunked out, and so because it was only supposed to be a summer job. And I told him I flunked out, and he said, "Well, hey," he said, "the only way I'm going to let you go back, to continue to work here, is if you go back to school. And do you know that this gentleman allowed me to go, take late lunches or what have you?" And so that's how I ended up finishing my bachelor's degree, is by going part-time, um, working, for the city of Gary. And so, we take our hats off to him, because that was the catalyst that kind of started me down the education journey. I started to understand the importance of education and what it could do for me. And again, I'm not saying that everybody has to go to college, because college is not for everyone. There are a number of jobs that you can get into. You can be a plumber, you can be an electrician. There's a number of things. And so I'm not alluding to the fact that you have to go to college, because college is not for everyone. But what you do have to do is find out, like, what your purpose is. Like, why were you put here? Think about the things that you do well. And I really believe that some people live their entire lives and never find out their true reasons for being here. And so some of us are motivated because of the money that a career or a job may give us. Some of us are, do it because of the prestige, what other people will think. I've been past that for a long time, is worrying about what people will think about me. And I think that, that level of tough skin happened when I was working for the city. How much lower of a job can you go? And again, there's nothing wrong with doing that job, but I knew that I had more inside of me. And so, during that time, I had friends come home from college. I had friends, who had left the city, and hey, I was back at home. But anyway, so I go and I find out that there's that the guy from admissions did not want to let me in. His name is Bill Lee. Uh, Mr. Lee, shout out to you, because Mr. Lee gave me a chance. He said, hey, we'll let you enroll for a couple semesters. He said, but if you don't prove yourself, you got to be out. So at this time, I started thinking about the Marine Corps again and all that stuff. Ended not going. I ended up doing well, actually. Ended up meeting a guy, well, not meeting a guy, I already knew him, but a guy who had also come back home from Indiana State, Will Selmer. And one day after class, we met at a place called Dina's, and it's torn down now. But he challenged me. He said, hey man, he said, look, he said, we both have come home. He said, look, he said, we are both at some point, he said, let's commit to being doctors. And I don't know where he got this from, but not long after that, he told me he was going to dental school. And he ended up going to dental school, and he's doing quite well. And so I hadn't finished my master's, but once I did, he, every now and then I would see him. He said, hey, what's the deal? What you gonna do? And he would ask me that every time. And so I did enroll, and I'm happy I did, and finished that education. But my point is, what I want you all to understand is that, you have to find the reason why you were here. If you think about the different levels in life, it's different levels to this thing, and that's something that I had to understand. There's different levels to living. You can be on a level where you are on the struggle bus, or you can be on a level where you are the one who are providing resources to those who are on the struggle bus. You're either the beggar or you're the lender, and there's some in between. But one thing that I did, and I'm grateful for this, is that I had to transform the way I was thinking. And you know what? The power of the mind is it's incredible, because you know what? Whatever you're thinking is what it's pretty much going to be, And so I encourage each of you, and I do this with my children as well, is to consistently, on a daily basis, at the end of the day, or maybe early in the morning, hey, you got to ask yourself, what did I accomplish? Where's my mindset? How can I elevate myself to be the very best that I can be? Some of us don't even believe that we can be great, but we have to think about, where do those self-destructive thoughts come from? A lot of things that we experience come from our childhood. The messages that we were given as children. And some of us never get to the point where we shake those negative thoughts or those negative words that we've heard. Some of those things haunt us until today. And so when I'm watching, podcasts, and I'm watching these guys, talk about, what they're doing in the housing market, or what they're doing, with the trucking industry, or whatever it might be. They all started from the bottom, but it was the transitioning of the transformation of their minds that led them to believe that they could. And so, when you think about your life, and you do a survey of where you are right now, think about how much growth and development has happened. Are you in the same place that you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And if so, you have to ask yourself, why? What can you do differently? What can you do differently? And so again, I'm not going to keep you long. I wanted to just kind of give you all just a quick hello, just to kind of let you know a little bit about my life and why I chose to bring these dynamic speakers that I brought on to the to my podcast. And we're not gonna stop. We're not gonna stop. You know, we're gonna take a short hiatus. You know, we're gonna load up on some more videos. We have some exciting people that that are coming on, and we want you to make sure that you tune in and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, you do that for me. Make sure you do that, because again, it's important. You know, you never know how the information that you receive, how you might be able to encourage someone else as a result of the information you receive. And so, you know, we are excited about, these opportunities that are coming up. So, hey, we're not going to hold you, but again, we want to thank you for being a part of our community. We can't do this without you. Some of the comments, some of the emails, texts that I've received, people are loving what we're doing. But we need you to spread the word and tell others. If there's a particular video that you like or you thought it was powerful, hey, you know what? Share it with someone. All right? Again, this is your man, James TheOrator from SuperSpeak Sundays. This is a quick monologue dialogue. I hope that you've learned something about me that will encourage you to continue to help us grow our community. Until next time, if no one else has told you, I want you to know, hey, I love you. Take care of yourself. See you down the road.